Welcome back. We're talking about something else before palliatives fill my head. So now we're joined by Caroline Adekboju, who is the Acting Controller General of Immigration Service. Good morning, madam. Thank you for coming on today.
Good morning. Thank you so much.
Well, ever since you assumed the saddle in your acting capacity, so tell us, I mean, how's the office so far? I mean, yes, people have the impression of immigration, but how are you grappling with the challenges there?
Well, in my office directly, I really have no challenges because this is the job I've done all my life. I'm conversant with the requirements of managing the service. I came in as a Deputy Controller General, so I'm used to administration, things that are required of me. The only thing is that there is an expanded responsibility. I have more responsibilities now, but with capable hands around me. I have experienced deputies around me. They are dedicated and loyal. So I think I've been coping well.
So in terms of, having been there for a long time in the service, and you're also conversant with the complaints that Nigerians give about how they expect the immigration service to provide service to them. So being in that saddle now, have you seen the reality of what they've been talking about?
Thank you so much. Yes, I have. You see, one thing Nigerians know about Nigerian Immigration Service is the issuance of the Nigerian passports. And we know what Nigerians have applied for international passports in the past 2 years. The applications have been very high, unprecedented. But be that as it may, the service is working hard to ensure that we meet the expectations of Nigerians by, number one, we are automating our passport application processes. We are trying to ensure that we cut out human interface. Our applications are available online. And we are trying to sensitize our applicants that they should go online for this application, avoid patronizing touts. And then I want Nigerians to know that Nigerian passports is a security document. Before they are issued, there are a number of processes. We carry out a lot of security checks, address verifications, and all those things. It takes a little time to do this. So I try as much as possible to let people know that you don't wait. For example, if you are renewing your passport, don't wait until it is completely expired. You can start your application process when you have 6 months validity on it. Then for fresh applicants, most people know that they may be needing passports. They don't have to wait until the very last moment. That puts them under pressure. That exposes them to unscrupulous people who parade themselves as touts, And like I said, we are doing automation of our systems.
Okay.
Yes.
So what's the average time it takes to apply and get your passport?
Yes. For a fresh application, it's 6 weeks. For renewal, it is 3 weeks. But presently, considering the crowd that I witness in our passport offices, I am trying to put up a memo to the appropriate quarters that something should be done about renewal, as it is done in other climes. Once we have your data, I think you should be able to renew your passports by online applications without necessarily going into the passport offices. That will reduce the crowd that we experience. So the visiting passport offices will be left for fresh applicants who need their biometrics to be captured. But once you have applied for your passport once and you have it, renewal should not take you back to the passport offices. That is my vision, which I'm trying to, see how I can accomplish.
Well, some people will say it's only common sense that, I mean, since you say that the passport is a security document, it is indeed a security document, and that if you've been verified before, it should stand that, the information which you have there is still valid, unless, of course, house address, and other things have changed. But the fundamentals, I mean, for instance, your name, unless, of course, you want to change your name again, as married women like to do. But looking at what you have said so far, I know that when it comes to passports, we can dedicate one whole hour to discussing passports and we'll still not be done. And for a number of Nigerians, they will tell you that they have been punished for trying to go online to try and start their passport renewal process or their first-time registration for a passport. Oftentimes, they say that when they get to immigration quarters, if they have already started the process online, the immigration officials, tend to punish them. That's what we have heard. That's what we have been able to gather, that, oh, you people are the ones that went online, and let them stew for a while. I mean, have you heard things like this?
Well, we hear all sorts of stories, but be that as it may, there is a social re-engineering ongoing in this service. I have directed that we carry out trainings again, or maybe you are aware that recently I've changed the passport control officers because I want to increase the level of responsibilities. Now, I'm changing most of them from who are passport control officers on the rank of assistant controllers. I'm moving them to that of deputy controllers. And of course, I have charged them to ensure that services comes first. Service to our nations, dedication, integrity, and transparency. We have, like I said, we have put in place this online thing. Whatever might have been happening in the past, with my vision of a social re-engineering and other measures put in place to monitor, to evaluate performances, I expect that there will be an improved service delivery in this under my administration.
Do you have a feedback mechanism for Nigerians to be able to get through to the immigration service if they have not been served right, wherever it is that they've tried to go and get their passports?
Yes, we have that. They are all available on our websites. Where the application processes are done, we have dedicated lines, we have dedicated emails that are there. If you go on our website right now, they are there. We have people that are available 24 hours, taking calls and listening to complaints of Nigeria. We have the Servicom unit too, where people have recourse to. You understand? We have the anti-corruption units, where people can they can lay their complaints and they will be taken seriously and investigated.
Has anything changed with staff welfare?
Thank you so much. Yes, staff welfare. When we talk of staff welfare, the first thing I did was to look at transportation, to ease the issues associated with transportation. With the assistance of the cooperative society, now we have about 7 buses that we have bought. We are yet to commission them, and the buses that our personnel can be used, especially here in Abuja, the headquarters. I've met a number of them in a state that needs repairs, and I've contracted the repairs out, about a dozen of them, for them to be repaired. And as soon as I am able to have access to our budgetary provisions for this year, if need be, I will buy more, both for the headquarters and for our formations, maybe in a few states where we know that our personnel will be having challenges with transportation. Then one thing that is very important in the welfare of our personnel is promotion. Yes, our promotion will be based on seniority. It will be transparent. It will be based on competence. There won't be any. There won't be any shady things about our promotion. Like I said, they will be based strictly on seniority and competence and character. And people who have shown dedication to the service, who have shown expertise and commitment to the service will be rewarded. And the people who are found wanting will be punished and the welfare. And then we're also looking at the issue of housing. This is a long-term thing. It's very important. We'll be looking at that.
So that they're going to have mortgages and things like that?
Yes, so the cooperative society is looking into that. Okay. They are looking into that.
So, talking about border security, I mean, different people, depending on what state they are, they see strange faces. People on bikes, they see all sorts of things. Even companies too, they set up companies here. So what is it that you plan to do differently to ensure that we don't have legal migrants who come in here and run roughshod over Nigerians when they're not supposed to be here?
One thing that is intelligence sharing. Only recently, some governors from the northern part of Nigeria came to my office, to ask, to share some information for us and ask that we reinforce our presence at our borders. Immediately, I called on the controller in charge of that state. He was there, and I have vehicles, patrol vehicles that I am sending to the place. Very soon, I will be going there to assess the situation myself. And like maybe you are aware, the federal government has contracted the electronic management of our borders to a company, a technology-based company in Nigeria. So along with deployment of well-trained and motivated personnel, we are also into a technology-based security, technology-based border securities. Okay. From our control room at the headquarters, I will have access to information, real-time information on the activities of our borders.
We see some other countries where the immigration services, they go into different parts of the country, they accost people, find, those who they suspect to be illegal immigrants, and then they do something about it. Does immigration do any such thing?
Yes. We have the Directorate of Investigation and Compliance at the headquarters here, and then we have them replicated in our formations. We go out for inspection. We go out to companies, we go out to hotels. The only thing is that we ensure that these movements are regulated to make sure that people are not harassed. You see, when we do our work, we also show respect for human rights. We deploy people who are trained in investigation and compliance. So they go out from time to time to do inspections. And we have been making arrests. We have been making arrests of people who reside in Nigeria on visitors' passes, when actually they should have residence permit. When we lay hands on people like that, depending on the length of time they have stayed in Nigeria, we do find them. We find them as we should, and some will ease out.
All right, my colleagues in Lagos, they've got questions for you. Go ahead, please.
Well, thank you, Chamberlain. Just quick one. I saw one of the pictures you took right after you came into office was you standing before a map of Nigeria, essentially showing the recognized entry points into Nigeria. It was a lovely picture. In fact, I had to zoom in just to check some other, recognized entry points that I may not be aware of. So I'd like you to tell us, do we still have over 1,000 illegal entry points in Nigeria? Minister of Interior in 2012 had said that Nigeria, they've identified 1,497 irregular routes, essentially talking about how big a problem it is to man those routes. So do we still have that much illegal entry points into the country?
Thank you so much. Our borders are manned better these days. Like I said, since we discovered that, we have deployed more hands to those places. You see, where we call illegal routes are where we do not have immigration control posts, you know. So people use those routes because of the peculiar nature of our borders, which are contiguous with our neighboring countries. Like many parts of Nigeria, you will discover that the people on both sides of the divide, they share the same language, the same culture, the same ancestry. But there are designated routes where we have immigration personnel, who can endorse travel documents. You know, so like if you know, the people, West Africans, due to the ECOWAS Treaty, they are allowed to come into Nigeria, but they must come through recognized routes, like what you have in Seme, what you have in Idiroko. It is when people try to beat all these places in order to, you know, maybe because they are not coming in with what they call ECOWAS traveled documents. You see, they try to beat our personnel, but as much as possible, we have deployed hands there. We channel them to the appropriate routes where the travel documents will be checked. We are the ones that need endorsements, we give. So the number you mentioned has been drastically reduced.
So what is the number now? Can you put a figure to it? 500, 1,000, 200? How many irregular entry points do we have?
Reduced. We do not allow people to enter through all those channels again.
Okay, so we don't have any irregular entry points, or you're saying that I need Nigerians to understand, again, I think it's important for information, so they see the work you're doing, they're able to track it. And I mean, you've declared, for example, a state of emergency on passport issuance and all that. Seems you've hit the ground running. So in terms of the figures, what is it right now?
Okay, what we have currently now is that the recognized Nigerian routes still remain what they are. Anyone trying to beat our recognized routes, like what we have, maybe the regular airport, the seaport, or our land borders, where anybody trying to beat that are considered irregular migrants, and they are not allowed to come in.
Ma'am, I was hoping that you put a number to it, which is why I'm going to ask that if you have a number for it, is it 500, 600, less than 1,000? Do you have the capacity at the Immigration Service to deploy the ideal number of personnel to all of those entry routes? And if you say that there is no illegal entry anymore, the Customs Service still says that they're arresting people who are smuggling fuel illegally out of the country.
Well, as for manning our borders, every day we are aware that we need more personnel, and there is an ongoing recruitment exercise where we are trying to ensure that we recruit more people. And from our end, we are trying to deploy more hands to all these borders to ensure that people do not enter this country through our unrecognized routes.
I wonder if my colleague Malkwe pretty much followed through with the question on the concern about the need for married women to have to go all the way to Abuja for name change. I wonder if that still obtains at the service. If you say that your service for passport application and renewal has been automated, why is it very important for married women and indeed those who need to do name change? Why do they have to go all the way to the federal capital to effect this change?
Thank you so much. married women do not have to come to the federal capital. They do not have to come here for name changes.
Not anymore.
Anybody that is married, there is a waiver for them. No, they do not come. They do not. All along, married women do not have to come to Abuja. There is a gap there. It is indeed true that when you require data changes, you may need to come to Abuja because, for example, if you are coming, you have given you have given a set of names, your date of birth. All these are important documents. And you suddenly wake up one day, you say you want to change your name. It's understandable. Sure, you can change your names. You have the right to bear whatever names you have, but you cannot change your date of birth. Your identity is frozen once you applied for the Nigerian e-passports or enhanced passport. So once you do that, when you now require that, when you make a request, you apply that you want to change your name, we want to know why. But as for married women, the rule is not applicable to them at all.
But then a quick follow-up. A lot of people do it online and they go to your office, as Malkwe has mentioned. Some of them actually are told to pay to personal accounts of officers of immigration. In fact, I have a classic case in Lagos here, Ikeja. There is a paper on the wall with the account number of one of the staff and the name, and they just tell you that is where you send the money to. Is that right?
It is not right that anybody pays into anybody's personal accounts. All application, our payment system, they are available online. But like I've said, whatever might have been happening in the past will cease to happen now. I have changed the level of the supervisors, the officers in all our passport offices. And I have charged them to ensure that we display professionalism and good work ethics. And like I said, I have my evaluation mechanisms that I have put in place since I have come on board. I want to plead with Nigerians to be patient with us. I want to plead with Nigerians to watch and see that new things will happen in this new dispensation.
All right, there's this one, this message from Digi. He says, I did my capturing at the Alausa passport office in May. I was given 17 July for collection, but when I got there, I was told to check back in 3 months, making a total of 5 months. How do you address this case?
Well, a lot of things happen. You see, when we talk of Nigerian passports, there are a lot of things that are interwoven, that are interconnected with the production of the passport. Sometimes some people have issues with the arrangement of their names, which we'll also have to sort out with NIMC. Yes, the NIMC, this National Identity Management Commission. Okay. So there is not solely resting on the shoulders of Nigeria Immigration Service, but as much as we can, we try to, the number of applications we get is huge, but we have deployed more hands now and improved machineries in place. So I will take the name of that gentleman, for example, and look into his case.
All right, we do thank you for coming on. Caroline Adepoju is Acting Controller General of Immigration Service. We do have some messages coming through. This is from Dixon. He says, this is about rising petrol price. What we're being forced to suffer today is not an impact of subsidy removal, but a punishment for the inability of the federal government to manage dollar exchange. Those who are having the hope of fuel price reduction should have a rethink. The Naira is on a free fall. We're not producing petrol, but importing with dollar, and there is so far no mechanism to help the Naira. By next month, the currency soars to 1,000 Naira to $1. We may buy petrol for about 800 Naira per litre. We're being punished unnecessarily with price hike for their inability to either refine petroleum locally or control the dollar.
Well, someone's given a medical perspective here to the issue. Fuel price hike and palliatives. It says palliatives connote end-of-life care option when cure is not possible. At least that's what happens in the medical sphere. It says the energy crisis being experienced has a cure. Local refining of crude and manufacturing of steel, aluminium, and other parts used in the industry. Let's heal. That's from Dr. Henry Awonono.
Interesting. Well, Festus Akimboewa is also concerned about price, which is the concern pretty much for many Nigerians. And he says, sadly, it's a bleak picture for Nigerians when it comes to the price of PMS now that subsidy is gone. And the price of PMS may still go up as price of oil is rising internationally, as the storm created by subsidy removal will disproportionately hurt average Nigerians. Government at all levels must roll out the palliative now. Delay is dangerous.
But Musa Mohammed says listening to our problems sounds like we need rocket science to solve them, or maybe rocket scientists, as the case may be. Our elites are just pleasing themselves by looking the other way for their interests. That's our problem. Else, you will ask, why are our refineries not working? And Adekoya Fetuga says this is the time legislators have to reflect the yearnings of those who elected them. They must be ready to have budget costs. Or cuts, rather. That's the last tweet we can take this morning. Would like to thank you so much for being a part of the show. I must say it's cheery to hear from the immigration, and we hope that this feedback mechanism will continue. I'm Kayode Okikiolu.
Yes, indeed. We hope that other government agencies will also be more open to feedback and change as well. Thank you so much for allowing us to share your morning. We'll be back again tomorrow. I am Bukola Koka.
Indeed, whatever happens today, keep your head up. Thank you for watching.
You know,
yourself.
Government needs to think a little differently. Rather than just give people naira because you think they have to have cash to spend, we should think about a credible credit system. You take away 40% of the pressure. People need to have cash to do things. If you do that, thank us later. I'm Chamberlain, so goodbye.